Welcome dear students. Welcome to our next lecture on our ongoing course on environmental engineering. I'm your course instructor Dhruv Saxena and I welcome you to the next lecture. In the previous lecture, we discussed some concepts regarding the demand forecasting and I also gave a numerical at the end. I believe that many of you must have attempted that numerical, but for those for any reason who could not have attended, I am giving you another 3 minutes in which you can attempt it. There will be a timer running on it on your screen. Please start attempting the question and I will be supporting you afterwards by solving this question. Please take your time in solving it. See, as a GATE aspirant, the main thing is to attempt the numericals by yourself, because in the exam most of the questions will be numerical based and you will have to attempt them, and GATE is not that easy, to be very honest with you. GATE questions are a little tricky at times and you need to think. So if you start that approach by now, it will be much more helpful. So the question says that find the population of Ajmer in for the year 2020, okay, using given information, using all the methods, that is arithmetical increase, geometric increase and incremental increase. Take your time. If you really appreciate the work of TechU faculties that they are providing to you, the GATE training that they are providing to you, if you like the lectures, then do share it with your friends also of the same branch as well as other branches to help them prepare for GATE. The reason we are much more focused about the GATE exam is it has been proposed that in the near future, the GATE exam will turn into an exit exam for all the engineering students. So in case it happens next year, then you must need to qualify in order to obtain an engineering degree. So there is a possibility, probably in coming years, it will be done, and the importance of GATE will be more than ever. Okay, so I hope you have attempted. I have given you 3 minutes. You must have attempted something. Many of you might have got the right answer. Now we will see how to solve this problem by, okay. चलो अब इन खुद से एक बार करते हैं सॉल्व, ठीक है. Now what does it say? The years are given as 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14 and it has been asked for the year 2020. So let us first start with the arithmetic increase method. So in the arithmetic increase method, if you can recall, the first thing we need to calculate it was average increase. What is the average increase in population? Okay, X bar. So for that, I will simply find out using the values given here. I will make a new column. I will name it column as increase in population. Now mind it, the values will remain in the same units as in the given information. So here you can find out what is the increase in population, what is the increase between 2011 and 2010, the increase is 3. Then in the next consecutive years, it is 6. Then in the next one, it is 8. Yes. And in the next one, it is 4. Okay. Now we will use these values. We will simply take an arithmetic mean of these increases. So this is how you will be doing it. What will be the value that you will be obtaining? 5.25. This is the value of average increase. Now for the year 2020, we will use the formula that we have got. We will take the population of the initial year. Then there is a, what is the gap? This is the value of n. N is 10. Okay. Why? 2020 minus 2010. It comes out to be 10. Okay. So how much it is? What is the value of population in 2010? It is 46 into 10 power 6. So I'll simply write here 46 into 10 power 6 plus 10 into 5.25 into 10 to the power 6. So how much does it turn out? It turns out to be 46 plus 52.5 or 98.5 into 10 to the power 6. So this will be your population by the year 2020, okay, as per given information. So that is how you solve a problem for arithmetic increase method. Now let us move on to the next method, that is geometric increase method. What was to be done in geometric increase method? We need to find out the value of R, that is the geometric mean, and we will be using the geometric mean concept in the geometric increase because the government of India recommends it. So what is the individual uh, increase in the rate of growth? How do we find it out? Let us see. So these are the values that we have obtained. This is the increase in population in 2011 when compared to 2003. Increase of 3. So we need to find out what is the rate of growth. We will make another column for rate of growth and we will label it as small r. Now the rate of growth, can we write it in this fashion? This is your population, 46 is your population for the year 2010, and this is the increase between 2011 and 2010. So the rate of growth comes out to be 3 by 46 into 100. The base year will be in the denominator and the increase in population will be in the numerator. Okay. And since it is a rate, we will be giving it in the value of percentage. Okay. Next, what we have, this is one value. Next, for next data available, it is 6 by 49 into 100. Then what we have, 8 divided by 55 into 100 and 4 by 63 into 100. Okay. How about these values come out to be? You need to quickly calculate it. Please do it. These values come out to be 6.52, 12.24, 14.52 and 6.35. Okay, this is the individual rate of growth. I hope you all have understood this concept. Now let us use these values to find out the geometric increase method. Okay, but the forecasted population for the year 2020 using the geometric increase method. The first one is 6.52.24. Use your calculators. Find out the value of the geometric mean, that is small r. It comes out to be 9.62 percentage. Now we will use this value in the known equation. Okay, we can take the base year as 2010 also. Okay, here we are taking the base year as 2014. What will be the difference if I take the year as 2014? Everything remains the same. The value of n in this case comes out to be n is equals to 6. Okay, so let us put in the values for the year. Population 67 was there for the year 2014. So 67 times 1 plus 9.62 to the 6. How much it comes out? Is it comes out to be 116.25 to the power 10 to the power 6. Now this is the population for the year 2020 as per geometry increase method. You can see here that the population from geometric increase method comes out to be much more than arithmetic increase method. This is the reason that we use geometric increase method in rapidly growing and young cities. Okay, so that we get a higher value. Now let us move to the third method, that is incremental increase method. Okay, now for this, the equation that we have obtained in the last class, I'm just rewriting it and putting the values we know. So what will come here? Okay, I just put in the values of n as 6. Okay, now we know the value of x bar. We need to find out the value of y bar. What is y bar? Y bar is the incremental increase. Incremental increase in the increase in population. Okay, so I'm writing it here. Incremental increase in population. So what values are we considering here? We need to find out what is the incremental increase in the increasing population. So we will be considering firstly these two values. So what is the incremental increase? 3. Then we will consider these values. What is the increase? 2. And here the incremental increase is -4. I hope it is clear. We need to consider this increase in population and find out the incremental increase in population. I doubt whether these values will be visible with red ink, so I am rewriting it as in white color. Okay. Now let us simply use these values. Let us firstly find out the value of y bar. It comes out to be 3 plus 2 minus 4 divided by 3. So it turns out to be 0.33. Okay. Now let us simply put this value. So the population for the year 2014 is 67 plus 6 times 5.25 plus 21 times 0.33. It comes out to be 105.4 into 10 to the power 6. Okay. So this is the value that we have obtained for the year 2020 using the incremental increase method. Okay. Now that's all for demand forecasting from my side. Now what I will recommend you, start solving the previous year papers. Okay. Previous year GATE papers. From where can you obtain it? I will also give you the sources. Firstly, since we are going through a lockdown in most of the parts of India, so I'll recommend you going online, go to GATE website. Previous year questions will be available for you. The recent year's question papers. Go for civil engineering papers and try to find out. Okay. Now this will be a difficult task since there are a lot of questions from different subjects. It will be difficult to find out first of all for you for the specific environment subjects, and then again specifically the questions that are related to population forecasting. So what I'll suggest, you can go for any, there are multiple materials available on the internet. So there might be some material consisting of topic wise GATE questions. Okay, you can either go for it, or thirdly, if it is possible for you, then I'll highly recommend to buy any question set by any of the coaching companies that are available. There are all of them are same only. There is no difference. The question remains the same. They provide you the key and solution. So anyone you prefer, you can prefer by anyone. We don't recommend any specific institute here. So you can buy any question bank, that is GATE previous year questions. Okay. Now alternatively, we will be providing you very soon on our Telegram channel the same thing. So join it. If you haven't joined, go to the description box and join it. Thirdly, what you can do, if it is possible for you to get in touch of any of your senior or a good friend who can lend you the GATE papers, or at least they can provide you with the scanned copy of the previous year questions if they have the question book. Okay. So ask your seniors for assistance. Okay. These are some of my recommendations for previous year papers. We understand that times are tough, but at the same time we need to stay strong and prepare for our future as well. Now let us start with a new concept today. We'll be starting our study about raw water engineering and what are the concepts related to it. So the first topic that we are starting with is sorry is water quality. In this topic, we'll be discussing the various water quality parameters, the various tests, the measurement techniques that are done, what are the different limits for different type of impurities, different type of minerals, metals available, different type of chemical odor and other physical properties, chemical properties. So all of these things will be covering it. And once again, it is very important for any of your competitive exam and especially for GATE. Okay, so let us start our discussion on this water quality. So first of all, let us discuss what do we mean by raw water. Okay, in basic understanding, we understand that raw water is the water that we collect from the chosen source and which is brought to the treatment plant. So we need to analyze the properties of this raw water which has been collected from the source. That, let us say, I will draw a simple diagram. This is your source. It might be a lake. You have pumped the water to the water treatment plant. Now you need to design it. How will the water treatment plant be designed? Based on the source, how we will analyze the water quality parameters, and depending upon the water quality parameters that we have analyzed, we will require the water treatment plant. If there is no requirement, all the parameters are well within the limit, then we don't require WTP or water treatment plant. We directly will supply it to the community. But since most of the sources are having a little variance in some of the values, so what we do, we design the water treatment plant as per the water water quality parameters, and we treat the water so that we bring it into the acceptable limits, and then we circulate it to the community. Okay, so that's how the thing works. No need to draw this one. I have just drawn this to make you understand that what is the need of artificial treatment that has been given to the raw water. So let us quickly write down the definition for raw water. Okay, please write it down. A sample of water, a sample of water is referred as raw water if it has not been subjected to any artificial treatment. Okay, we are just talking about the water that we have collected from the source. Now next, let us write down why we need to study this topic, the basic crux. So in order to ascertain the quality of this water, Certain indicators, parameters are being used referred as water quality parameter WQP that are further classified as. So as I said, we will be discussing the physical water quality parameters, we will be discussing chemical water quality parameters, and the third one we will also be discussing are biological quality parameters. This is also one of the most important. All three are very important, but in terms of disease causing, the biological ones are responsible more. Okay, so now let us start with quality of water. First, let us discuss the physical water quality parameters. Okay, let us start our discussion with physical water quality parameters. I am writing the short form PWQP. Okay, physical water quality parameters. Now, what are the parameters that we classify under the category of physical water quality parameter? वो सभी पैरामीटर्स जिनको अपन फील कर सकते हैं, जिनको अपन सेंस कर सकते हैं, जो टेंजिबल है. All those parameters that can be felt or that can be sensed or which are tangible. इसमें क्या क्या आते हैं? Such as turbidity, color, smell, that is odor. So these type of parameters, they generally we classify them as under physical water quality parameters. So let us quickly write it down, which can be felt or sensed by our senses, are referred as physical water quality parameters. Okay, now let us take the first one, that is suspended solids. Now I hope everyone understands by the term suspended solids. So if you take a glass of water and if you find out there are solids that are floating in that or that are submerged and bouncing around, will you be drinking that water? Definitely not. So we need to remove these suspended solids, and also there are some finer solids that will not be directly available visually. We can observe visually directly. If you have to put a lot of efforts to find it out. So we have made some standards that till this limit it is acceptable, but afterwards it becomes a little hazardous for the consumer. So it is a physical water quality parameter. Now solids might be inorganic or organic. Okay, next, these solids might be either suspended in nature or they might be dissolved. So the suspended solids, we consider them in under the classification of physical quality parameters, whereas the ones that are dissolved, we consider them in the chemical water quality parameters. Okay, so it is a physical water quality parameter, whereas dissolved solids is a chemical water quality parameter. Okay, remember this thing. Next, what are the sources? Let us write down. They may come from inorganic particles like silt, clay, gravel, sand, etc. Or it may be induced by organic particles like plant fibers, algae, or planktons, which are aquatic plants. Okay, or it may be due to presence of immiscible liquids. What are immiscible liquids? The liquids that are not dissolvable or soluble in water, which might flow in different layers in water. Just for example, oils and grease. If it is present in water, we also consider it in the suspended solids. Okay. Now, I have mentioned here organic and inorganic particles. Quickly, let us take a note that what is the basic difference between inorganic and organic. First one is their source from where they have been produced. Inorganic might be from any rock, river, or any sand, silt. Organic are from different sources that are biological in nature. So we have to discuss about the particles. So the organic particles, what is their general nature? These organic particles might be biodegradable, that is they will degrade by the action of microorganisms, but whereas inorganic particles are not biodegradable. Now let us study what will be the impact if the suspended solids are present in the water. So first of all, it will induce a psychological effect. The example I took is I've given you a glass of water filled with silt and clay. Definitely you will not drink it regularly. There might be some odd chance of 1 in a million of emergency that you are not getting any water, but still you will try to filter it using any of the methods. But psychologically you might not feel it good to be drinkable. Next, it also provides some adsorption sites for chemicals as well as viruses, bacteria. Now what does it mean? It provides a surface for them to stick around and to react. Okay, and in turn it further hampers the water quality. Next, it might also result in incrustation, that is deposition or rusting in the pipes that we have used in pumping mains and distribution system. Next, the solids, if they are biological in nature, they might lead to growth of disease causing microorganisms. So if those particles are biological in nature, if we allow them to flow through our pipes, so over the time, by the time they reach from raw water source to the consumer point, there might be possibility of development of microorganisms because of these biological particles. So we need to cleanse all of them. So before that, let us write down these important points. They will be important for your GATE as well as both university level preparations. So what are some of the impacts of suspended solids? So suspended solids induces psychological effect as it makes water aesthetically displeasing. Okay. Next, suspended solids, they provide adsorption sites to both chemical and biological reagents. What does it hamper? They interfere with treatment of water. For example, what different treatments they will hamper? For example, the process of chlorination. Okay. Next point is that they might result in incrustation. What is incrustation? It is deposition of precipitates. So deposition of precipitates due to any of the reaction might take place where in the pipes or other apparatus, thereby affecting their discharge carrying capacity. If there are precipitates or any of the thing that have been deposited in the pipes, then definitely its cross sectional area will be hampered, and hence the discharge carrying capacity will also go down. Now, next point, that if these solids, if they are biological in nature, it may result in growth of disease causing microorganisms. In growth of disease causing microorganisms. Okay, so let us move ahead. These were some points. Now let us see how do we measure the amount of suspended solids in a sample of water. So it is simple. You can use any of the two methods. First one is filtration. You filter it using some membrane or sieve. Then second one is using evaporation. You take a water sample. Okay, let us consider a water sample. This is your beaker. This is your water sample. These are the suspended solids. Okay, these are the suspended solids. Now there might be possibility that in your water sample dissolved solids will also be present. Okay. Now another method for the suspended solids, and most of the methods are based upon the gravitational techniques or the graviometric techniques. What does it mean? That you let the water stand still for a given time period, let us say 4 hours, 8 hours, 16 hours, any amount of time, and during that time all these suspended solids will get sediment and will come down at the base, and then you can remove the top water and you can calculate what is the suspended solids. One method is that also, and most of the methods use that. Okay, now let us say this is the beaker. We can easily find out the suspended solids using the filtration technique as well, but in case we need to find out exactly what are the number of solids, then what can we do? We can heat this. For example, we heat this water at a temperature of 104 degrees centigrade. So what will it do? The suspended solid, the water and suspended solids that were initially there, when we heat it at a temperature of 104 degrees centigrade, the only thing that remains is suspended solids. Okay. Now let us say I need to find out what is the amount of the organic solids or the organic suspended solids. So to find out, I am quickly just writing down here short forms. Okay, I was thinking that how to write these big terms here. So I will be using these short terms. So OSS is for organic suspended solids, whereas IOSS or IOS is for inorganic suspended solids. Okay. So how do we go to this level? We heat these suspended solids to a temperature of 600 to 650 degrees centigrade, and what are we left with? We are left with just the inorganic solids. All the organic solids, organic suspended solids or organic solids, they are highly volatile in nature, and when we heat them at such a high temperature, that is 600 and 650 degrees centigrade, all these organic solids, they just sublime or they just evaporate from the container, and what is left over is inorganic solids. So we can find out the organic suspended solid content by reducing the value of inorganic solid content from the suspended solids. So this will give you the value of organic suspended solids in that. Okay. Now let us say you have taken a filtered sample. Now what will be the case here? In the filtered sample, all the suspended solids are gone. So you can easily find out the weight of the dissolved solids. So what you need to do? Again, heat it to 104 degrees centigrade and we will find the dissolved solids. Now why we need to find out dissolved solids here when we initially said that dissolved solids are chemical water quality parameters? The reason is that these values that are mentioned here, these values are not accurate. Why they are not accurate? Because these values, they contain the solids that are both suspended and dissolved both in nature. So we need to find out separately that what is the amount of suspended solid and what is the amount of dissolved solid. So we can find out the amount of dissolved solid by filtering out the suspended solid and then heating it to 104 degrees centigrade. Now further, if we heat it to 600 to 650 degrees centigrade, we will find out the inorganic dissolved solids. Okay, and again we can find out the organic dissolved solids by simply subtracting the inorganic dissolved solids from the total dissolved solids. So these are some simple methods that are used to identify the weights of suspended solids, dissolved solids, and we can also further bifurcate them into inorganic dissolved solids and dissolved solids. Okay, now let us quickly write these things down and then we will end today's lecture. So most of the technique involved in measurement of suspended solids, they are of based upon gravity techniques, or they are graviometric in nature. Gravimetric techniques are the techniques in which weight of unknown is found out using simple techniques, and we also use based upon sedimentation techniques also. Okay, now next point is that total solids, that is TS in water, can be computed by heating the sample at 104 degrees centigrade. So we will find out here total solids. We will find both suspended solids as well as dissolved solids with this method. I will just show you the above diagram, which one we are talking about. Yes, here these are nothing but total solids. We need to find them individually, that what is the amount or different amounts. Okay, next, suspended solids can be computed by passing sample through filter and heating the residue leftover filter at 104 degrees centigrade. Next point, organic solids both in total and suspended form can be computed by heating the sample and residue left over the filter at 600 to 650 degrees centigrade, and the apparatus used is muffle furnace. Okay, now let us write down the last point for today's session. Organic solids being volatile in nature are converted into vapors at 600 to 650 degrees centigrade, leaving behind inorganic solids or the non-volatile solids, or we can also term them as fixed solids. So this organic solid content will be equal to total solid minus inorganic solids. So that we have discussed already earlier. Okay. So that's all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing some other topics such as turbidity, its measurement, then odor, taste and smell. So that's all for today's session. Thanks for watching, and do join the Telegram group. The link is in the description box, and also share this video with your friends if you find it worth it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.